Yo, yo, Joe, what's up, buddies? Stay hydrated, right? Gotta remember to hydrate so I can go and piss every 3 seconds. Cool shit. I noticed that some of the shortcuts I've showed you in the past, like how to move around like the timeline quicker, to skip, to jump to one edit to another. I showed you in my shortcuts, right? On the W and the S key, I have go to next edit point. That's W. Then on S is go to previous edit point, right? So what that means is when I hit W, it's gonna go to this edit point. I'm gonna go up again. It's gonna go to this edit point. I hit W again. It goes to this edit point, right? And so on and so forth, right? The thing is that with DaVinci Resolve, with Premiere Pro, say if I move this over a bit, so they're not overlapping these edits. If I hit up, it's gonna go to this edit point, right? If I hit W again, it's gonna go to this edit point. I hit W, it's gonna go to this edit point. As you can see here, it completely ignored this edit point and this one, right? That's because in Premiere Pro, these guys are like tracks, so they're almost like target tracks, right? You have to select these. That way, when I'm using my shortcuts, it recognizes this edit point. I hit down, it's gonna recognize this edit point. I hit down, same thing. I hit down, same thing, right? And then it works also, you can deselect these, right? So now it's only gonna recognize this track. So when I hit up, it's going to this edit point. Then when I hit W, it's gonna go here. You'll see that? And the same thing with like the top one. Up, up, right? So this is handy when say you have a bunch of edits and throughout your timeline, if you want to move quicker, you could just, you can hit WW and SS a lot, to go to previous edit and go to next edit. And like I said, and I brought it up before, set up your shortcuts around your left-hand area. That way, it's almost like you're playing a video game and you move it around, right? With DaVinci, some of you have mentioned that you guys don't know how to do that. Because in this case, I can select my targets on Premiere Pro by selecting these guys here, right? And it turns blue. However, DaVinci Resolve, it doesn't work like that exactly, right? Basically what they have is you have something here called an auto track selector, right? This basically works similar to what I just showed you in Premiere Pro, where you click on those target switches that turn blue. You have to select these guys. As you can see here, it's ignoring these two clips, right? Now if I select these two again, the auto track selector, now these edits are gonna be recognized. Up, W, over here, over here, over here, and over here, right? And then same thing, I can deselect these two. That way only the video number 2 gets recognized. So if I put another one over here, let's just, for example, it's gonna jump over here, jumps over here, jumps over here, jumps over here, jumps over here. See that? So that is beneficial if you want to jump in between target tracks, depending on the layer that you want, very quickly, right? Now, something I learned about using this method is that when you start to use the ripple trim, right? And say you have all these guys selected, right? Just in Premiere Pro, say if I want to do a ripple trim, I have this set to E to ripple trim to this edit, right? And then on Q, it does a ripple trim back, right? So that's my E and Q command. Let's say if I select video layer 1 and audio layer 1, right? And then on top of that, I got, my pastrami sandwich image, on top of my shit here. If I trim towards this edit, it's just gonna make a cut automatically, right? If I deselect that, it does the same shit. Now, there is something, let me undo that. Here in Premiere Pro where it says toggle sync lock, if I deselect that, what's gonna happen is that when I make a trim, it's not gonna do anything. If I trim back, same thing. It's gonna completely ignore it, right? So it's not gonna do a ripple delete. Let me do a big chunk here. If I do a ripple delete from here, this edit point doesn't move back and it stays in place, right? Inside of DaVinci Resolve, it works somewhat differently, right? So let's say I go here and I want to do a ripple trim from here to here. Look what it does. See that? If I go over here, let's see, I want to do a trim back. See that? Instead of me adding an edit, like in Premiere Pro, right? If I select this back again, if I make a ripple trim back to previous edit, it's gonna make a cut for me and it's gonna leave this alone. At the moment that I know of, DaVinci Resolve does not do that, unfortunately, right? It's like you have to make a cut first, doing your shortcut, then you move up a bit, then you trim back, right? There can be a situation where that is beneficial, right? But it is a bit of annoying at time, right? You're able to do the same thing in the sense if you remove the auto track selector and you start doing a ripple trim, it's gonna ignore this layer as well, right? See that? But it's gonna not ripple trim everything back, and it's going to get everything out of sync depending on what you're doing, right? So just keep that in mind, that once you start, like if you out the auto track selector and then you have like an image at top, and if you want to do a ripple trim, that's going to happen, right? The thing I have to do is I have to make a cut first, and then I have to move back, then trim back. It's a little extra step. It's not that big of a deal, but if you're dealing with that situation, it's what you have to do, right? But again, you can like remove the auto track selector, and then you're able to mess with it, right? But then everything starts to get out of sync because it doesn't like trim with your editing. So something to keep in mind. So yeah, anyways, all right, if the video helped you out, like I said, there's the QR codes to help me buy some caffeine or some seltzer waters. I really would appreciate it. If not, it's cool, don't worry about it. Just leave a like and ask the questions and all the good stuff, and tell me how much you love my videos and all that stuff. Thanks for hanging out with me for a bit. Take it easy. Peace.